So, what happens in This House Has People in It? This House Has People in It is a rabbit hole of information. The original video itself is security footage of a family that films the daughter, Subject 3, aka Madison, fall through the floor of the kitchen on the day of Subject 4, Jackson's birthday party. That may seem pretty simple and strange, but it gets stranger. Besides the fact that all the people in the video are considered subjects instead of people and are numbered, there is the framing of the episode. The video logs into AB Surveillance Solutions, and the viewer sees the cache of information stored. There turns out to be over 75 videos, but of course we are only shown the main episode, which is 12 minutes long. A code is put in the video's tape number. There's a log note. Subject 3, Madison, prone in kitchen floor. This is the first clue the video will be strange. Prone in kitchen floor, not on. There is then an establishing shot of some of the cameras in the house, and then the content of the video begins. The cameras switch from one part of the house to another, some not showing any activity, and curiously, the videos can zoom in as if someone is actively watching this family. The content of the video begins with Subject 1, Tom, and Subject 2, Anne, the parents of these two children, playing with Subject 8, Amber, the baby, and talking about various things like travel plans. Their conversation seems pretty mundane, but it gets important by the end. They are completely ignoring Madison on the floor, who's laying face down on the floor, and are trying to get ready for Jackson's birthday party. Downstairs, Subject 6, Dennis, is repairing pipes down in the basement. He is a contractor for AB Surveillance Solutions who works on the family's house full time. It's not explained why, but this is something that apparently he is just paid to do. In the living room, Jackson and Subject 5, the grandmother, are watching an episode of The Sculptor's Playground, which features the co-writer of the whole episode, Alan Resnick, as the fake host. This entire episode in This House Has People in It is available online. The grandmother is extremely interested in the show and does nothing else but watch The Sculptor's Playground in the video. Boomy the cat, a possibly real cartoon cat known as Subject 9, and an unnamed pink figure wearing bed sheets known as Subject 7 is also appears in the video. These two are subtle subjects, but they become relevant as more content is explored. Finally, Tom and Anne begin to talk about Madison. Anne says Madison has been on the floor for 2 hours. Tom and Anne fight over getting Madison off the floor. They realize Madison is stuck to the floor and begin to freak out. This is where the paranormal activity really starts to happen for the family itself. Guests begin to show up for the party, and Anne and Tom tell Jackson to turn them away. Then Madison begins to sink into the floor. Tom and Anne get Dennis to help them. The party guests gather outside the front door. Jackson starts to throw away his party supplies. He puts them behind his bed. Tom gives Amber to the grandmother, who promptly puts her down and lets her crawl away. She later seems to escape the home. There are some clips in the extra content where Amber is not a baby, she's a baby doll, and so it's unclear if she is found after she escaped or if she actually escapes for real. In the basement, Tom begins to rant and seem to go crazy. In the kitchen, something in the oven burns and smoke fills the house. It's not noticed by anyone, even as the smoke detector starts to beep, although Anne and Tom and Dennis are all pretty focused on the fact that Madison is sinking through the floor, and you can see her face through the floorboards. In the front yard, the party guests have opened up all the gifts and are playing with them. Anne and Dennis put Jackson's bear mattress, which has been bare the entire time this episode has played out, in the basement for Madison to fall on. Madison falls through the floor, and Anne, Tom, and Dennis scream. The video goes black, losing signal, saying out of range. In the front yard, every party guest is laying flat on their ground in the same position as Madison in the beginning of the video. The credits roll with the link to AB Surveillance Solutions on the bottom as an end animation for the company. The video is full of clues to discover more. Words everywhere in the house are passwords to log in to the surveillance website and see secret clips. For example, the code for the family itself is 00437, and the password is bed sheets, which is seen on the refrigerator when Dennis enters the kitchen. The conversations too seem unimportant initially, but are clues to what is happening. For example, Tom says he wants to go to Cape Town, South Africa, instead of Orlando, Florida, and that's a clue into the family's obsession with Lynx disease. The host of the Sculptor's Playground gives out clues, such as Lynx saying the name Lynx disease for the first time, a disease that does not exist, but the paranoia around it does. Anne, for example, is specifically obsessed with Lynx disease and making sure that her family does not have it, although in the content on AB Surveillance Solutions, there is an unavailable piece of content that says subject 3 has also gotten Lynx disease. So it's unclear how many people in the house have Lynx disease, but Anne is certainly afraid of it. On the surveillance website, there is a log of videos, emails, and phone calls to go through, as well as a video game for Boomy the cat, where Boomy runs through the neighborhood and eats garbage and is literally impossible to lose, as the viewer can only go right and jump. The Sculptor's Playground includes an episode on YouTube and a website explaining what Lynx disease is. The symptoms and how a person would get it don't make much sense. For example, he says that you can use clay to cure Lynx disease, but Lynx disease is also found in clay, and so it just doesn't make sense. But basically, it's all fake. This disease is fake, but the paranoia around it is real. From there, it is up to the curious viewer to gather information and discover their own answer to what is happening in this house. There's a lot to unpack, for this house has people in it. I have only mentioned the basic summary of it and what's going on, and I haven't even involved most of the emails and phone calls and all in the importance of the Sculptor's Playground episode, but the main video gives a curious viewer everything they need to learn more. Yeah, thank you.